Assalamu alaikum. This is Najia Nasim of the Women for Afghan Women, which is an organization that fights for the rights of women and children in Afghanistan, and also for the Afghanis living outside of Afghanistan. What is very important, this organization also was one of the finalists in 2015 for the Václav Havel Award for Human Rights. So thank you very much for being with us, and let me at least, well, in this virtual way, welcome you in the library of Václav Havel.
Thank you so much. It's nice meeting you as well, and my warm greetings from Afghanistan to everyone who hears and who watches this program.
Madam Najim, this year, since the very beginning of 2020, there is slight, let's say, first steps of maybe leading towards the hope of ending this very long, never-ending war. At least in February, the first glimmers of hope were brought by the peace treaty between the Americans and the Taliban. Now, finally, the government of Kabul is talking directly in Doha to the Taliban. Do you see that as the gates that are maybe opening towards a hope, or are you afraid of the possibility of the re-establishment of dominance of the Taliban over the whole country?
It is actually this peace talks. I would say that if I just go through the peace talk of with the Taliban, it's more than a year, so almost it's 2 years that the peace talks has started. It's quite slow, but at least we can see the progress which is made so far, and particularly the inclusion of women that is in these peace talks. While the percentage or the inclusion of women in terms of the numbers, it's quite low, but at least there are strong women from Afghanistan who can talk on behalf of women in Afghanistan. The progress is there, but there are also a lot of concerns and challenges because even in the recent news that we see, it's more than 3 weeks that these different parties are in Doha for these talks, but it's still it is so slow. So they haven't even finalized the concrete agenda to talk on that. This is concerning at the same time because there is no ceasefire. Unfortunately, the attacks and also the fighting in different provinces of Afghanistan, the roadways to different provinces, it's quite with a high risk. The threats over government employees or NGOs, even women. And so this is something like concerning that at one point the talks are there, at the other point there is no ceasefire, and even the violence in terms of the fighting has increased. We do hope that there is an end to this fighting, which is almost like 40 years. We do hope, but there are still a lot of concerns, especially for those who have already experienced the challenges and those inequality that were during the time of Taliban. So, of course, the concerns are there.
Women for Afghan Women as an organization has been established in April 2001, which was a couple of weeks only after the very well-known infamous destruction of the Bamiyan Buddhas by the Taliban, while the Taliban was in complete control of over almost the entire country. It's been a very long time for you and a lot of activity. So if you could have a look back, and even though you mentioned several obstacles and several challenges, what have been, according to you, the biggest accomplishments by your organization so far?
So since 2001, first of all, WA is the largest women rights organization in Afghanistan. We do have an office in New York City as well that provides services for Afghan Americans and Muslim Americans, and also other other clients or women who need our services. And those services cover women economic projects like ESL classes, driving classes, citizenship classes, focusing on youth leadership, providing classes for them, and also working within the community and being a strong advocate for women's rights there. And of course, coalition building. If I particularly talk about Afghanistan since 2001, the overthrow of Taliban in Afghanistan, and legally, Afghan women organization started in Afghanistan like as in 2003, and it was registered in 2007. So during this, I would say 18, 19 years, we have provided services to millions of women and children around the country, establishing women protection center or shelter, which weren't in Afghanistan. And still there are challenges to convince or change the mentality of the community from a negative perspective to a positive perspective through shelters or women protection centers. That's not easy. But we have been able not only to provide our direct services, a comprehensive services for women who are victims of domestic violence, including legal services, mediation services, psychosocial services, health services, and educational, academic education. I would mention economic empowerment in terms of literacy classes or vocational training. So it's a kind of comprehensive services for these women. And we have built that trust between our organization and also the community. Like long before, if a woman ended up in a shelter or woman protection center, then it was quite hard for that woman to be reintegrated in the society. Even the family of that woman did not accept her only because she ended up being in the shelter. According to community, shelter weren't a good place. Still, there are some people, but there has been quite a lot of progress. I would say even our organization, in 1 year, we registered around 2,000 to 3,000 cases in all our family guidance center. And it's not only that we register, we provide our services and they're reintegrated. So this is a big achievement, that we are a strong partner with government, a strong partner with the local community, like the elders that they were opposite of women protection centers. Now they refer the clients from the community that we have to provide those services. So this is a great achievement. In terms of that, through WA is the only organization that provides services for the children of incarcerated mothers. In Afghanistan, if a woman ends up being in the prison, there is the condition of the female prisons in Afghanistan, even for the prisoners themselves, is not quite satisfactory. So what if the children of different ages, 7 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, or even 12 or 15 years old, without committing any crime, they end up being in the prison? So we are the only organization that we provide services. We took these children out of the prison. We provide them accommodation, academic, health services, psychosocial services. So a comprehensive package for these children. So this is also a great achievement, I would say. Rather than these children being in the prison, we provide them those services. Through awareness program that we have been able to provide awareness session in terms of women rights, children rights, with thousands within the community and other stakeholders, and we can see the impact and changes within those community. And during recent years, I would say after 2015, we are also a strong partner with agencies that provide services for IDPs and returnees. Unfortunately, during the recent years, the number of IDPs, internal displaced people, have increased substantially. And even from this numbers that we work, we can see that the fighting has increased so much because we are working with thousands of IDPs, and we also provide them mediation services, legal services, health services, establishing women shuras, identifying people who are in need, and also referring to them to other agencies. So they're all great achievements of WA. And of course, if I just name all of them, especially during 2020, that all over the world there was crisis of COVID-19, and so many organizations have to work from home because of the lockdown. But WA was the organization that the operations that we have, 24-hour operations, our operation is not in a way that we have to work from home, because it's all within those our facilities. We, even during that time, our operations were open. We were open to accepting clients. We were open to all our services. So this is something and could even manage the crisis, COVID-19 crisis, and also the challenges that those challenges doubled during COVID-19 crisis, we could manage in its best way. And that's of course not easy, because our staff on a daily basis, they receive threats. We receive threats from perpetrators, from perpetrators' family, from warlords, from opposition. So it's a kind of working in a high-risk environment is very difficult, but at the same time, every day we can see the impact of our work and the end result of our work, which motivates us to work more.
It's interesting when you have a look at the opposition towards what you're doing, the efforts to elevate the situation of the women and children in Afghanistan. And if I add numbers that are rough numbers, that around 80% of Afghani women, because of the opposition towards children's education towards the little girls, there are around 80% of Afghani women are illiterate, supposedly according to the information that is provided by the Amnesty International and other organizations. There's also around between 70 and 80% of young ladies have been forced into the marriage. So all these together, those are traditional circles that are very happy with the current situation. They say that that the current state of affairs of the Afghani women is based on Islam, on Quranic law. On the other hand, you are a domestic organization that is trying to elevate women. So when you have a look at that, how does the form of Islam that is prevalent in Afghanistan reconcile with your work and with the status of women and children in society?
In terms of the education, access to education, especially for women and girls in Afghanistan, and access even to health services and access to justice. So it's like access to education, access to legal services, and to health services, and even be able to work. It's a kind of a lot of challenges, a lot of barriers, and those barriers are not only because of the misinterpretation of the Islamic Sharia law, but also security is another reason, and cultural norm is another reason. Of course, security is number one reason because of the insecurity. So it is quite difficult for a number of organizations to go and be able to be present in even remote areas of Afghanistan. Due to security situation, government cannot build schools. It's a kind of there are so many people that they want their daughters to go to school. They want them to get education. They want their daughters to go to work. But because of the insecurity there, so that's why they end up being their daughters, if the school is 1 hour or 2 hours away from the home, and the way there can be sexual harassment, kidnapping, anything can happen. This is one part. Other part is as I mentioned in terms of the Sharia law. In terms of the Sharia law, the good thing about our organization is that we provide basically through our community mobilizers. We provide our awareness session in terms of women rights and rights to get education based on Sharia law. I can tell that almost like 80% of our community mobilizer has a background in Sharia law. Like they have been a bachelor in Sharia law. So they have that strong background to talk with the community and tell them the exact importance of education and Sharia law. So this is something that on our end, we try our best. But at the same time, even as I mentioned, that if people are ready to send their daughters to school, but the war is there, they have to move to another province. So there are a number of reasons that the progress is there. There are like not a big majority of people that they don't want their daughters to go to school or get education. There are the percentages less, but the majority that they don't go to school because the resources are not there. The security is not there.
Besides the overwhelming poverty and the ongoing war that has been raging pretty much ever since 1979 and even before that, and also the traditional patriarchal way of life in many of the rural communities all around Afghanistan. Paradoxically, it's sometimes in some of these areas is the women of the oldest and eldest and older generation that are the main opposition towards the elevation of young girls' status. Is there anything that can be done when it comes to this obstacle from a point of view of your organization?
Yes. So I would say, I mean, working both, it is a kind of like in a country which is always war, I would say. So this is a kind of forced culture of war within the different generations. So even the generation that we have right now in Afghanistan, like I am somebody like all over my life, it's all like I have witnessed the fighting and the war. So this culture of war has negatively impacted the good culture of Afghan people within those community. So we as an organization, when we work with the community, our focus is not only, our target group is not only women. We work with women and men. We work with them together through our female community mobilizers and also through our male community mobilizer. Through we have like both male and female to work with these women. It is not something to be changed in a day or in a couple of days. It takes time. It depends how strong is the person who advocates and how that academic background is strong and how that communication power is strong and how if she is from that community. And normally the way we provide our services, like our I can is in not almost in 90% of the provinces that we work, our staff is from that specific province, from those locals. They know the community well, they know the culture well, they know the language well. So from all those strengths, we want to take advantage of those strengths and bring those changes within that community and know the root causes of why they actually why they don't want like education for women or all these things.
It's quite clear that there is still a lot of work. Najia Nasim, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much from the Library of Václav Havel. I wish you good luck. I wish you a lot of courage that you obviously have. I wish you a lot of security because you'll need that. And obviously, since we're in 2020, a lot of health. Thank you very much and good luck with Women for Afghan Women. All the best.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank all the team and for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit my experience. I see a little bit because, of course, like experiencing all these 40 years in wars, it's a lot of experience. So my little experience and discussing about the work of the organization Thank you so much. It was an honor for me to be a part of this interview. Thank you very much.
Thank you much. All the best.